Alright, this is Grayson with Garvin's Plumbing. We are at Mountain Vista Senior Living. We are in Building 2. Currently, we're cameraing through Unit D. We've cleaned the line from Unit D 128 feet, which is pretty much right on where we are tying into the common line. We also pushed 128 feet from the outside riser, so it's 120 feet standard on the reel. I've got newer cable, I haven't trimmed any of it, and then I've got an 8-foot whip that I used in both areas. I did find a clean out in the laundry room with a 4-inch clean out behind the dryer. However, our clog was within 5 feet before that clean out. So I elected to go as far away as I could so that we could clean as much of this line as possible, as there have been multiple issues over time, and then also scope from there so that we can see if there's anything going on. It does look like whenever I initially did my scope, it did look like there was quite a lot of scale buildup. This right here is clay tile pipe. We are running water, so it's very difficult to tell in the vertical. That's why it's covering the camera head. But the clay here is right outside the sidewalk of the laundry, maybe 20 feet into the outside risers. You see this tap that we are now coming up in. So, and I have stopped running water, but there could be water draining from sinks and things like that now that tenants are able to use their facilities. You can see that the cast iron still looks pretty rough. It looks much better now than whenever I initially tried to scope. Whenever I initially scoped, I could only get to about 104, 105 feet before I couldn't push any further, and I couldn't clear the clog with just my camera, unfortunately. So we did have to bring the machine in and run it from here as well. So you'll see that there are little chunks of scale and whatnot. Hopefully those get completely flushed out. There should be, there will be a decent bit of sediment due to the scale that we removed from using the whip. We did go into units C and A and run the shower and bathtub in both of those and flush the toilet in both of those. We had the sink running in D the entire time after the clog released. So we have run a very copious amount of water. It's difficult to see with the bottom of the pipe covered with water, but there were sections that looked to me like the cast iron is rotting, and so like right there along the top, I believe that's just waste buildup, but the pipe is not uniform in some areas, and on the bottom sits lower and has buildup along the sides. So this area right here is where our clog was predominantly, where the full stoppage was. It looks like there's cracks on the left of the cast iron, and then as we go down, you see that we start to sit a little lower with that ridge up, and this is after using the whip and going slowly. So descaler machine might benefit from it, but it also might be the final straw. Final recommendation for this line is going to be to repair it. So this is more normal. This is what I would consider, we have the same amount of water draining right now, but we're not sitting as low in the pipe as we are here. And as soon as my camera head goes there, water starts to rise up because it's blocking. So honestly, I think that all the cast iron should be replaced, but hopefully after this last service, we are just we're going to be having a lot better drainage. So I think somebody might be draining some extra water, or that's another low spot there. that we've sunk down into. So I don't really think it's a belly because you can still see, I mean, it's a version of a belly, I suppose, but you can still see the circular shape of the pipe. It's more like we're falling down into the bottom of the pipe. And so what happens over time is it collects waste and things like that. So I think that's a shower going. I think that's unit A, which we did stop that, so I don't know. Some decent bit of scale and sediment left over. Pipe looks much better though now. And if the line ever does get replaced, maybe, or even if in an attempt to avoid having to bust up concrete in multiple units, having some outside cleanouts installed out in front of the laundry area so that we can come back up this direction would be very helpful. So still looks like a smaller channel in the bottom. The further back we get, that looks like a hole in the cast iron. And this section here almost looks like it's been repaired or something before, but I believe it's still cast iron, so it might just be a little smoother. Some areas of the cast look pretty decent. I feel like this area looks better than earlier. Yeah, I take that back. It all looks pretty bad. The problem is with spot repairs is you end up having a patchwork sewer line, and instead of having a uniform, well done sewer line. So I think that's just a seam. That's the tie-in for unit C, I believe. And the vent stack and sink. This is the part of the cast that I feel like doesn't look as bad as far as being uniform. It might still have build-up in scale, but the bottom of the pipe looks like it's supposed to. Pipe looks circular. Looks like we removed scale successfully. Large portion of the pipe, though, looks questionable. That might be a crack right there. Hard to tell. Very hard to tell cracks on cast iron from the inside of the pipe because of the scale. I believe that was our sink tie-in. pulled out was some hair and floss. So, this has been Grayson with Garvin's. Thank you.